is shining bright. Yeah, I'm Bobo and Cramer, and they're bringing the heat tonight. Talking New York sports, you know what I mean. BS boys and the kings of the sea. Whoa, whoa, Bobo and Cramer, yeah, the pimps are loud, taking on the world, and they're never gonna stop with that New York grit. They're rising to the top, from the Mets to the Knicks. They got all the scoop, pouring out the passion, yeah, they're leading the truth. Every episode party, grab your friends and cheer. In this podcast palace, we got the atmosphere. Whoa, whoa, Bobo and Cramer, yeah, the stand of the lost, taking on the world, and they're never gonna stop with that New York grit, rising to the top, get loud. Tune in, turn it up, feel electric sound. With every single word, you never gonna frown. From the Midline Giants to the Madison Square, Bobo and Cramer, yeah, this man been getting it out. Whoa, whoa, Bobo and Cramer, yeah, the stand up the loud, taking on the world, and they're never gonna stop with that New York grit. They're rising to the top, get loud. Yeah, the best in the house is where the legends play. Bobo and Cramer, leading the way. Raise your glasses loud, shout it out loud. And the best in the house, we're rocking the town. And the best in the house, we're rocking the town. And the best in the house, we're rocking the town. And the best in the house, we're rocking the town.
And that's right, everybody. Welcome back once again to another edition of the Best in the House podcast. As always, I'm your host, Rob Kramer, joined by my co-host, Daniel Bobo Curlin. And we're in celebration mode again today for the second week in a row on the Best in the House podcast. As last week, we were celebrating an incredible end of the season when the Mets clinched in Atlanta to get the playoff spot and then went on to Milwaukee to defeat the Milwaukee Brewers in dramatic fashion with a 3-run shot by the great Pete Alonso to get them to this series where today we're celebrating beating the Philadelphia Phillies. That's right. That's right, Dan. The team that knocked us out in 2007 and knocked us out in 2008. And what did we do this year? We took their 95-win season and their National League East championship and flushed it right down the toilet. That's right. My name is Rob Kramer. His name is Daniel Bobo Curlin. This is the Best in the House podcast. And Dan, how you doing tonight, buddy? Holy crap, man. I cannot believe what we just sat through. This was a historic night on many fronts. It's been a historic week in a lot of ways. Obviously we're going to get to a lot of things tonight as the Yankees right now are going on in Kansas City in the late stages of their game, winning late right now. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. The New York Jets unexpectedly fired their head coach, Robert Salah, earlier this week after a loss across the pond in London. We're going to get into that in a little bit. Your Giants came up big this past weekend in Seattle. But, I mean, let's be honest. The biggest story, my friend, is the New York Mets defeating the Philadelphia Phillies. And Dan, you were at the game in Game 3. You saw, exactly, what the atmosphere was like there, what this team was like. What did you experience just being there with the explosion that this team had in Game 3.
That was incredible. And that was yeah.
Hey, Dan, your audio is really bad right now. I can barely even hear you. Really can't hear you at all. Dan?
Are you able to hear me now?
Okay, I can hear you much better now. There we go.
But for one thing, that as you can see, this towel was a towel given out at the game. That it was waving around. That's the actual one for the game. So, but yeah, that was an incredible energy. Like just on that train, it was like it was rolling. Like I had to pick up some money I did from a side job over in Manhattan, right?
Of course.
So getting to Manhattan, right? There was just this incredible energy on the way to the train. I've been on a train just the moment I got off. It was just like I cannot tell you. It just felt like a different energy going into that ballpark. It was packed. Of course, also there was the bathroom lines were long. Even exiting the stadium, that is a good thing. You want that. You want it to take a long time to exit the stadium because that's exactly what it means. The Mets are in the playoffs. If it's taking that long to exit the stadium, and this was even after I went to the bathroom after the game ended.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. They crammed 45,000 people in there the other night. And you know what? Actually, I pulled this up, so I do want to show this before we really get into all the aspects of the Phillies series. But I do want to play this because you attended a watch party at Citi Field during the Milwaukee Brewers series, and you got on Fox TV, the local station Fox 5 around here. So I want to play this real quick because it was pretty cool seeing you on there and having, Anthony retweeted it. They mentioned it on Jim and Sam. So you're getting some press this week, buddy, in addition to the Mets having a great week. Yeah?
I called in.
Dan,
I
what'd
called
you say?
him this morning.
Did you really? Okay, I'm gonna have to get that audio. I wish you would have told me. I didn't know that.
I got. I'll find one I can send you.
All right, you know what? Maybe we'll pop up on Patreon later this week and cover that. And that'll be a fun little pop-up show. So if you want to check us out on patreon.com/Best Eaten House Podcast, it's only $5 a month. And we got a lot of extra bonus material on there.
But yeah.
Yeah, what were you saying?
Definitely roll the footage of me.
Yeah, here we go. Hold on a sec. I'm not sure why that's not working.
And I literally did this off of my pointing my phone off the TV because I had recorded the news because I knew it was there.
All right, damn it. Now I have to find that one again because for some reason I preloaded. Okay, here we go. I preloaded it and it didn't work. So here we go. Dan, let's see. This is all right. This one right here.
It's been one of the most fun seasons of my life.
It's been a whirlwind of emotions. I mean, it looked bleak, it looked horrible in May, but then somehow June we came together and I said, I think we might sneak in the playoffs and who knows where from there. We did it! I think
Very cool there, Dan. So how did that all come about?
Well, they just somehow caught my attention. And who knows? Maybe there was some camera people from the news. Maybe I was throughout the moments game starting. I'm waving my grimace. I'm waving this by the way. Mets grimace. Mets have had a winning record since I bought this on Amazon. This, wearing a batting helmet ice cream bowl. I have a ton of these from Met games, and of course I got ones from every stadium I've been to. But Mets grimace is here. Hi, Robert. Hi, Robert.
I love it. There's nothing better than a Mets grimace right now. And you know what I was laughing about too? How great is it? I've been sending to people in my text threads and everything hashtag Red October because that was the Phillies hashtag they had on their on other social media pages this year. So it's pretty good to rub that in, because I saw them all holding up signs in Philadelphia, which, by the way, what a trash fan base that is, booing every injured player. They're absolute garbage. And they were holding up signs that said "No MG." And hey, guess what? I guess you could take Red October and flush that down the toilet too.
Yep, exactly. I literally just sent the text to any Phillies fan I know. You've just been grimace, bitches.
Nothing can kill the grimace. Let's go. Let's go, man. I cannot believe we are here right now. From where we started. Remember, the really, and it's funny thinking about Gary Cohen staying up till 3:00 in the morning thinking of this line, but it really is a brilliant line. From 0-5 to OMG, and it could not, just sum up this season any better, because, man, when we were doing the show in the first weeks of April, when they got off to that 0-5 start, and then, when they finally really hit rock bottom and were 19-31 or something along those lines, and it was just awful. Man, I'm telling you right now, I was flipping out. So many Met fans were losing their minds with this crap, and to think of where they are right now, it's such an improbable run. And, it really is reminiscent to me of the 2019 Washington national team, that they did everything on the road. They were the bottom wild card team. Nobody expected anything of them. They also went 89-73, just like the Mets. And, it's there's a lot of parallels there. And, hey, let's just hope the Mets can do exactly what they did.
Yep, exactly. But I just know this is like still unbelievable. I just can't believe we're here. The NLCS. By the way, anyone watching this, if you have any a lead to maybe tickets that are in $100 range for the NLCS, do let me know, because of the prices. I had to skip this round because I want to make sure I'm saved for the World Series.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the smart play, because I was even looking too, just to get in the stadium in the nosebleeds, and it was I think like $250 just to get in.
So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Pretty much the next time I'll be at Citi Field will be for the big one. I've had to I've had to, and I've been at the stadium for so many games. I mean, the team was in a bottom heap, and haven't been and the NLCS. I guess, yeah, I was debating. Yes, I said, yeah, I gotta kind of save this for the World Series if we get there, because I couldn't do every round. I knew going into this I probably wasn't gonna be able to do every round. So I knew maybe I had to do the NLDS, because I feel like the way the season's culminated didn't look like we're gonna make it. It just had to, the story of me had to show up with me being at a playoff game, and
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
so I knew I had to save it for if we get there. So as of today, unless somehow I get a call, or somehow I get invited or something, that I have to sit out I'm gonna have to watch the NLCS at home. But
Yeah, well, it could be worse. That could be worse. The Mets could be home, and luckily, because of this swing, they're not home right now.
Trusted arms. The 2-1. Lindor towards right center field. This one is back. It is gone! Grand slam! And Lindor puts the Mets on top. The biggest swing of the season for New York.
What a shot that was. You knew the second that came off the bat that it was gone. And just what a moment for Francisco Lindor, man. I mean, this guy has done it in the past in the playoffs with the Cleveland Indians. And he wasn't awful in 2022. He did hit a home run in those couple of games they played. He didn't embarrass himself. But the way he's carried himself this year, He said all the right things. I love the fact that he hit the home run and just put his head down and rounded the bases, like he's done it a million times, because he has. And even in his post-game press conference, saying that, when they move on, the one thing you have to remember is just to, do your job and respect your opponent. And it's such a growth from Francisco Lindor. He's really turned into captain material on this team, and getting it done in the playoffs is the best way to cement that, right?
Yeah, that was just unbelievable. I could tell you, Mr. Malunigan was barking after me going nuts. You went strong.
And how great was it? Oh, we lost Bo there. I guess he's gonna come back in a sec. But how great was it to see the sad face of Bryce Harper there? All right, here we go. Bo?
Hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Well, what happened was Mr. Malunigan was barking when I went nuts after that one.
Exactly, man. How could he not be? Because you're losing your mind. I'm losing my mind. My dog Murphy's losing his mind. Everybody's going crazy. Citi Field absolutely went nuts, man. How awesome would it have been to be in the stadium for that? Man, these guys were just hanging from the rafters, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. That place was nuts. I mean, also, I gotta say, I don't know if you're gonna be available for it. I'm thinking of maybe watching Game 1 of the NLCS at Donovan's in Woodside if you want to join me, or if anyone watching wants to join me, I'm thinking of doing that.
Yeah, it's a possibility, because that's it's actually pretty cool that we found out now the Mets advance, obviously, and the NLCS starts on Sunday, so we'll have to take that into consideration. But before we move on to the NLCS and talking about all that fun stuff, let's give out some flowers for this game and this series in particular, because there are a couple of guys who deserve all the credit in the world, and one of them is Jose Quintana, who all this guy has done in so far 11 postseason innings is allow 0 earned runs. He did allow the run tonight. The Mark Vientos bobble didn't help the situation at all tonight. But hey, the guy went out there, 5 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. You just got to give all the credit in the world for getting the job done again.
Yeah, you just had to give credit for Quintana. That was just unbelievable. I had a feeling he was going to pitch a big game. He pitched his heart out. He kept us in the game, and that's all you could ask for, for him to keep us in the game.
Yeah, exactly. And they turned it over to the bullpen, and I think I think they even though there's a possibility that when you looked at the situation, I would have considered leaving him in for a couple extra batters, but you can't blame the guy. There were 3 righties coming up. They had Reed Garrett ready in the bullpen, and look, Carlos Mendoza has pushed every correct button this year. There's no reason to sit here and expect him not to continue to push the right buttons. And when he finally doesn't, then I guess you could criticize him. But everything from bringing in Reed Garrett when he did, to going to David Peterson and having David Peterson get us through the end of the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th. And then turning the ball over to Edwin Diaz, which I'm telling you right now, if it was me, even at 4-1, I would have been very, very tempted, if I was in Carlos Mendoza's seat, to send David Peterson out there for the 9th inning too, and just try to have him finish it off. Because, man, I'm telling you right now, when Diaz came in and started walking everybody, that scared the hell out of me.
Yeah, the same thing that scared me. I just, oh no, I was just about to send you that meme, that meme with Skips, that I've seen this before.
Yeah, exactly. It felt like one of those moments.
Yeah, and I was about to, I thought, please don't leave me for me. Oh, bro. It just turned out to be celebrating a Mets win.
Yeah, exactly, man. And
and hold on, I I think it's only right I bring this one out. This one out right here. This.
As we hear Mr. Malunigan announcing himself in the background, and there you go, Howie Rose. Hit the button. Hit the button, Frank.
Oh, you want me to hit it again?
There we go. Yeah, we couldn't hear it the first time.
Yeah, it's the Howie Rose bobblehead that was given out, and around the time he was inducted into the Mets Hall of Fame, and I pressed that button after every Mets win. I'll do it on air.
Oh, very cool, man. And when we look at this right here, yeah, so now Mets face the winners of the Dodgers and Padres series. Padres currently up 2-1. They got a chance to close out the Dodgers tonight as well. And that game is also going on right now. I do want to give everybody a score update in the Yankees game. Let me see this right now. The Yankees did hold on for a 3-2 win, so we're going to be getting to that game momentarily. But as for the moment right now, the Dodgers currently lead the Padres 5-0 in the middle of the fourth inning. So looks like Will Smith hit a 2-run home run. Their catcher, Otani's got a hit and an RBI. So, they're getting it done. Mookie Betts 2 for 3 tonight with a couple of RBIs. So their big guys in the lineup are getting it done tonight. So it looks like there's going to be a decisive game 5 as long as the Dodgers hold on, which, hey, if you're a Met fan right now, we get to kick our feet up and watch the end of the Dodgers and Padres beating the crap out of each other, get ready to face us. So I think the Mets are in a pretty good spot right now. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I think we fare well against either of them. I just think scary is to see Otani lose the NLCS. I think it's hilarious to just say that, do that.
And I'm telling you right now, I want no part of the Dodgers. I want San Diego to win this thing.
Yep, exactly. Plus, exactly. Also, I have to say, I feel like this year is the Mets postseason revenge tour.
Yeah, it really has a chance to be, especially even in the World Series. There are a couple of teams that could get back in the American League, notably the Royals or the Yankees, if a rematch would happen there. But yeah, man, I mean, could you imagine now? We, just as I said at the top of the show, we got revenge on the Phillies now for 2007 and 2008. That vengeance has been taken, and it's a dish best served cold, as they say, Dan. And when you also look at what else they did now, they took Milwaukee down, which by the way, if you're going back in time, Milwaukee is the reason why the Mets didn't make the playoffs in 2008 too. Yes, Philadelphia came back and took the division, but the Milwaukee Brewers took that wild card by 1 game over the Mets, with the help of Ryan Braun going crazy as a rookie, and CC Sabathia getting traded over there, basically pitching every other day. So that Milwaukee Brewers win felt pretty good too. And then obviously the Braves on Monday. So, I mean, now it's going to either be the Dodgers, who, look, there's always hatred for the Dodgers, especially after 1988, even though the Mets beat them in 2015 and 2006.
Crazy part is, I was at that NLCS. I was at that game that we blew, that they left that they should have went to the bullpen. That game. My mother took me to that game. She took a then 6-year-old me to that game.
Wow, the Mike Scioscia game where Doc Gooden gave up that home run in the 9th inning.
Yeah, we don't mention the name Mike Scioscia in our house.
Understandable, because that really started the downturn of that 86 core team. In 88, they were cruising along up until that series.
And the same reason why we don't why we don't mention the name Yadier Molina, and we don't mention the name Adam Wainwright.
And of course they got Adam Wainwright calling this game, and that Mets Phillies series. How ridiculous is that?
Yeah. I said if the Mets don't win this, I'm gonna put Fox Sports on the Streiser list for having Adam Wainwright in the broadcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't in the booth for the World Series. Who's the main core team that Fox is going to use for the World Series?
I'm sure it's going to be Kevin Burkhardt, and I'm not sure who he's going to be working with.
I forget if did Kevin Burkhardt do last year's World Series?
I don't remember, to be honest.
He was in the booth last year.
I think he did. I'm pretty sure he did. And I think it was him and Smoltz.
Yeah. Even though I hate John Smoltz because of them losing all those years, I still don't want to deal with the Wainwright. Too painful. I was at Shea Stadium when that happened.
Yeah, that's Adam Wainwright should never be calling a Mets playoff game. No doubt about that.
There was even a funny thing. One of my Twitter friends who was at a NASCAR race this year was in the St. Louis area, right? And Adam Wainwright was the guy who gave the command to start the engines. The gentleman, start your engines. He said, "Man, Daniel, if you would have been there, I know you would have booed him, because I've heard you talk about how ever since then you booed every member. You would always boo every member of the 2006 Cardinals. There was even one time I was in Cleveland when they were there. You know, the next day I attended a game between the Cleveland Indians and the Anaheim Angels when Pujols was on the Angels. Some Indians fans were wondering why I was obsessively booing Pujols, and I said, he's a 2006 Cardinal, and we lost. And my Mets lost to the Cardinals in the NLCS. I haven't gotten over that 2006 NLCS Game 7. I said, that's literally. I had to explain that why I was obsessively booing Albert Pujols, and he might have been hearing my boos because I got those tickets for like $15 off a StubHub, and it was right behind the first base dugout, which surprisingly in the stadium in Cleveland, that's the visiting dugout. The first base dugout in Cleveland's the visiting dugout.
Oh, very cool.
So I'm sure he heard my boos, probably.
Definitely. And yeah, so when you look at when you look at everything that we have going for us now, Dan, you just gotta be thrilled with where the Mets are. No one could have predicted this, and I'm just absolutely thrilled. I can't believe that we're here right now. We are in the bird dog seat, as they say. We get to kick our feet up and watch watch two really good teams in the Padres and Dodgers just beat the crap out of each other for the next couple of days now. And you just got to hope that they exhaust their bullpens and everything, you know?
News: the Rangers won 6-0, opened the season with a 6-0 rout of the Penguins.
Yes, we were going to be getting to that at the end of the show, but absolutely. Yes, 6-0 victory for the Rangers, and a great night. We'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, Dan, I mean, you know, everything else lining up, because we're going to wrap up with the Mets here and move on to the Yankees, who, as we mentioned a second ago, won their game. But I did want to show this, because this, you know, you just have to love what you've seen from this team this year. And this is a little bit
yeah. Storybook continues. Here we are again. It just gets better and better. You gotta love what these guys are doing, right? I mean, you could feel it today. They were getting guys on base every inning. It was just a question of when. And so, I'm so proud of these guys.
And of course, it was Francisco Lindor.
Of course, you know, I mean, why not, right? I mean, in that situation, he just comes through over and over again. You know, I mean, it's amazing, right? I mean, the fans were going crazy. Fans were here tonight. They were all over it. It was a team effort, and it was just great.
That's what I was going to ask. When you bought this team, were nights like tonight, stadium packed, everybody on every single pitch. Was that what you
for this for years?
You know, that's the owner, Steve Cohen, and his wife getting interviewed there by Steve Gelbs. And damn, I mean, just how, like, you know, look at the joy in that clubhouse. You know, we saw Brandon Nimmo crying on the field, literally crying with the emotions pouring out of him. And here is David Stern. Hold on real quick. Let's hear a little bit from David Stearns.
Keep taking their commitment and frankly their performance to another level. We saw it again today. Fought through some tough at bats early where we didn't get the runs across, and then let's go! And then Francisco, obviously, with the swing that everyone, I think, in the building thought that he was going to have right there, and just incredible.
You said a few weeks before the end of the season that he's putting together probably the greatest single position player history season in the history of this franchise. It's one thing to put up those numbers when it's a regular season, but what he's doing in these moments, just how difficult is that to do consistently, and what does it say about him?
I mean, he's showing up at the biggest moments of the year consistently. I don't know that there's another player in baseball you want at the plate right now in that situation.
They're 100% right, because we're gonna be talking about a couple of guys on the Yankees in a minute, and Aaron Judge, who's had a real tough time at the plate to start his playoff run. But Dan, I mean, just seeing these scenes from inside the Mets clubhouse, at home too, by the way, celebrating a clinching victory at home in the playoffs for the first time since October 16th, 2000, the day after my 14th birthday. Currently, the moment, I'm going to be 38 next week. So it's been a long, long time since the Mets had a celebration like this at home. And what's it like to see those scenes, Dan?
That is unbelievable. And by the way, I was at that game in NLCS.
The Mike Hampton complete game shutout.
I was there, so like an 18-year-old his voice for that game.
So me and you were both teenagers now, and now we both are in the 35 plus bracket. When you have to check off that on the age bracket. So me and you are, it's been a long time coming for this Mets team. A lot of emotions all around. So Mets defeat the Phillies 4-1 at Citi Field. First clincher ever at Citi Field. So that means a lot in itself too. And yeah, at the NLCS for the first time since 2015. And if you're wondering, back then in 2015, they clinched the division in Cincinnati. They clinched the NLDS in LA, and they clinched the NLCS in Chicago. So all on the road. So it's been a long time coming. Fans got to celebrate tonight with the team, and it's well deserved. And let's move on now to the Yankees. We'll check on them for a little bit as the Yankees and the Royals. The Yankees took on the Royals and beat them tonight 3-2 in Kansas City. It was a hostile crowd, especially towards Jazz Chisholm, who made the comments earlier in the series that the Yankees are a better team than the Royals and they're going to beat them. Probably true, but also, you don't want to say that. You don't want to give them any bulletin board material. But the Yankees went out there and backed it up tonight. And really no thanks to the great Aaron Judge, who coming out so far in this postseason is an ugly 1-4-11, dropping his career postseason batting average to a minuscule 203. So Aaron Judge not off to a great start this postseason. What do the Yankees do in a situation like this, Dan? I mean, Aaron Judge is kind of becoming the anti-Jeter.
I don't know what the heck is going on. Did some Red Sox fan bury something in his house? Some cursed object in his home, wherever winter. I don't know. I'm assuming Florida, because I just feel like all these athletes, they live in Florida. All these baseball players, they all seem to live in Florida during the winter.
That's true. It's true. And by the way, if you're watching this right now and you're in Florida, I hope everybody's safe, because there's a pretty nasty storm coming through there, obviously, as everybody's heard. A deadly storm, as a matter of fact. So hope you're safe, and best wishes to everybody down there.
Yep, and if you're a Mets fan there watching, hopefully you found a way to watch the game even without the power out. Hopefully you guys get the power back up soon so you could watch the game. But I'm sure you probably found a way on the phone via the Fox Sports app or something to watch you found a way to watch the game somehow.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I spent a lot of time down there, specifically in the Fort Pierce and Port St. Lucie area, and where the Mets spring training complex is. So really hope everybody's okay down there. I saw a tornado with all the ridiculous weather going on ripped through just north of Port St. Lucie, Fort Pierce earlier today, I believe. It was either today or yesterday. So hope everybody's doing okay there. It's pretty nasty stuff.
I got family. Yeah. Hopefully all you people, all my friends and family there, friends and relatives there, hope you're guys are all staying safe out there because it's scary how scary that. And I just wish they'd do a little bit more of a coming through with aid for there. And I encourage you, and I mean, even at my job, I volunteered to load some supply trucks. So I encourage you to do that. Maybe you find some place, or maybe a church group or something that's loading supply trucks. Help load some supply trucks.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, prayers and best wishes to everybody down there. And let's just to get back to the Yankees now. Um, obviously Judge continues to struggle, but look, the guy that has taken the mantle, and when your main guy is struggling, that means the other guys in the lineup have to pick it up. And the guy that's picked it up for the Yankees, as he has in years past, this is not the only time that Giancarlo Stanton has performed well for the Yankees in the playoffs. He's actually a very productive playoff hitter for the Yankees, as in his postseason career, he's hit .270 with 12 home runs and 27 RBIs and just over 100 at bats. So he really kills it in the playoffs for the Yankees. And today he did it again. 3 for 5, a double, a home run, 2 RBIs, and the big blow was his solo shot in the 8th inning that broke a 2-2 tie and gave the Yankees their 3-2 lead. So, look, when your main guy is struggling, obviously, you got your backup, and Giancarlo Stanton's been that backup in the playoffs for most of his time as a Yankee, although he doesn't get the credit for it from Yankee fans. But Stanton continues to put up good numbers and be, reliable when they need him most.
Yeah, I gotta give credit to Stanton. He looks like he's adjusted to finally playing for the Yankees. I feel like if you're wearing a uniform and you have whatever NY it is that's on your cap, there is just a lot of expectations, especially when you're going from a city like Miami that has practically no fans to this like a completely different kind of situation. It's a completely different atmosphere. And
Yeah.
And I probably feel like maybe Giancarlo Stanton is probably also giving maybe has helped the Jazz Chisholm transition into playing for the Yankees, playing in New York. Because he's been there, he's been through that before. So gotta give credit to him, whatever impact he's had on Chaz Chisholm from that similar experience, going from a team that's probably has a ballpark that's empty to a situation where there's high expectations. You got to give credit to Stanton for that, probably.
No doubt about it, man. I mean, you go to 50,000 people in Yankee Stadium in a playoff game, all depending on you, and things get ratcheted up a lot. And got to give credit to him for, wrestling those emotions and coming through in those big moments. But who's not coming through in those big moments, aside from the great Aaron Judge, is Bob Costas, man. I don't know how much you've gotten to watch of this series, but Bob Costas and Ron Darling has been calling this series on TBS for obviously for this ALDS. And look, Ron Darling is always going to be really good, but Bob Costas has been terrible. There's even a play tonight in the 7th or the 8th inning where there was a play where off the bat it looked like it might have been a base hit into center field, but then when they switched cameras, you could tell immediately that the shortstop had gotten over and caught the ball. And Bob Costas was calling it like it was a base hit. He had no idea until Ron Darling corrected him that it wasn't a base hit. And man, Costas, this ain't the old days. Bob Costas should not be calling baseball now.
Yeah, what the heck is going on with Bob Costas? That I don't know. Is he having a Larry King moment all of a sudden? Did he just accidentally smoke something before the game?
Oh my God, you're right. You're right. It was really, really bad. I felt bad for Ron Darling.
Because this I never would expect, like Bob Costas, a guy that's been broadcasting for years, to be that terrible. I mean, I even remember what I would never expect that from from a name like that, but what the heck? This just like this guy is ever gonna be like a guy that's probably one of the most well-known broadcasters in the history of sports broadcasting to now a guy that's become a meme pretty much now.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. You're 100% right. He's a shell of himself. This is a guy. I don't know. Maybe he just can't do it anymore. He used to be a good announcer. I remember him doing the '99 NLCS when the Mets and Braves were playing that on NBC way back in the day, Channel 4 here in New York, and
Yeah,
he's not the same guy.
yeah, he's not the same guy that everybody I remember that. I remember he was always hosting the Olympic coverage because of some comments he made about the concussion situation in football. He was like the host of the Olympics, if you remember.
Oh yeah, you're right. It was always him for the Olympics, absolutely, and that was the NBC. They had that in their back pocket. That was always the Olympics, and Bob Costas was the guy. And that's not the case anymore. And Bob Costas should not be doing baseball either. So let's leave it at that. So Yankees end up winning this game tonight, 3-2 in Kansas City. They take the 2-1 series lead, so they could finish this thing off tomorrow in Kansas City. I believe they play tomorrow. Let me double check because this baseball schedule has been pretty wonky so far this year. They've been killing the National League, and the American League has been having a day off every other day. But it looks like the Yankees are playing tomorrow. The Tigers and the Guardians are going at 6:00, which is an odd start time. I would think it'd be a little earlier than that. Tigers have a chance to close out the Guardians tomorrow, and Yankees are throwing Garrett Cole against Waka in Kansas City at 8. So big matchup for the Yankees tomorrow, right?
And I think the reason why they're doing that is because the baseball people, maybe the TV networks, want to set it up that there's at least one game going on all the days during
Yeah, I mean they've done that in years past too, but it's been done much better in years past than it's been done this year. It's really wonky. I mean, the Yankees played on Saturday, they didn't play on Sunday, then they played on Monday, and it's the whole way they've done it has just been really dumb and awkward.
Yeah, it is. It's just dumb and awkward. I don't know why they're doing. I don't know. But it's almost weirder than remember like the COVID NHL playoffs. Remember, which they did play almost a huge chunk of the regular season before they got to the playoffs. So I think that one might be more legitimate than the baseball championship because they played a lot of the regular season before the COVID happened. But remember how the hockey playoffs there was like there was like games that went on without off days.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember they were doing that because they were trying to get it all done over with.
Yeah.
Kind of remind me of what they were trying to do. I guess what they were trying to do there, and they didn't quite get it right, making sure there's a game every day during October.
That's true. So so just to wrap up with the Yankees there, the Yankees end up getting the victory in Kansas City tonight. Big clutch win for them as they end up getting the job done. Got to give them credit there. Very cool way that they pulled out on top. And then big Mets win, big Yankees win. Very cool for New York here, but what was not cool happened in London, England this past weekend. We're going to start with the Jets. We'll get to a big giant victory in a couple of minutes, but we'll spend some time on the Jets here as it's been a very insane couple of days. Typical normal territory for any Jet fan. We've seen this kind of odd story before, although not exactly told in this tone. As we'll start off. So the Jets ended up they had a big game this Sunday morning here in the States, afternoon over there in London, England, and the Jets were underdogs in this game, 2.5 points, but they came out just completely flat. They fell down 17-0. They looked like trash. Aaron Rodgers threw 2 interceptions in the first quarter for the first time in his career. Then he threw a third interception to seal the game late in the fourth quarter on the final drive where the Jets had a chance to take the lead. So Rodgers had his first poor game as a Jet. Wasn't all his fault. He was trying to play hero ball at times, but just didn't work out. But yeah, Rogers, so you do have to give him the criticism there for having his first rough game as a Jet. I still say that the game on the week before in Denver wasn't that bad. It was everybody else. But even the game, at this one, Alan Lazard had 4 drops. 4 drops. He got targeted 11 times. How is it that in 4 of those 11 targets, you drop the ball 4 times? I can't believe it. Like, the Jets really have to, and I really was hoping it was going to happen today, but there still is no word yet of a potential Devontae Adams trade, which this could linger. Typical Jets, everything with Hassan Reddick, lingering, but the Jets fell behind 17-0 in this. They ended up losing the game 23-17. And then the second half of that is that they came home. They had a off day on Monday. Robert Salah reported to the facility on Tuesday morning and got the knock on his door, which no head coach ever wants to hear. And it was the owner early in the morning informing his head coach that he's been relieved of his duties and Robert Salah has been fired. If you watch this show, I said if I was running the team, I would have fired Robert Salah after 2022 when they collapsed at the end of the year that season. I did not have a good feeling about Robert Salah there as a head coach. When you fast forward to 2023, I said Robert Salah should be fired. How is he not fired? And my plan after 2022 was Sean Payton. I really thought the Jets should have hired Sean Payton, and you see how he's getting something out of nothing in Denver. There's something to that. That's why you hire a Hall of Fame head coach in Sean Payton. But nobody wanted to hear that 2 years ago. They all said he stunk because he had one bad year in New Orleans and he was done. It's ridiculous to me. Same thing with Belichick now. The disrespect that Bill Belichick gets, specifically from my fellow New York Jets fans, is disgusting. Bill Belichick is one of the greatest coaches in the history of football. And sure, his record without Tom Brady isn't great. I see a lot of people pointing that out. But what does that mean? He got to the playoffs with Bernie Kosar. He got to the playoffs with Mac Jones too. Bill Belichick is a hell of a coach, and to denigrate him because he kind of fell apart at the end of his career in after a 20-year run in New England is kind of ridiculous. But Dan, what did you think? The only reason I bring that up too is because I would have fired Salah at the end of last year and brought in Belichick, but that's ridiculous to a lot of my fellow Jet fans too for stupid reasons. But Dan, what was your reaction when you first heard that the Jets axed Robert Salah on Tuesday morning?
It just happened unexpectedly. I just saw the alert. I just saw him scrolling, and I saw it on SNY's Twitter feed. And if you remember, I actually forwarded it to you as soon as I saw it happen.
Yeah, I remember getting that from you. But I was actually watching our buddy Jake Asman, who was a guest on our show last year during training camp. I was actually at my job, at my desk, working on the computer, but I had my little earpiece in, and I was listening to Jake Asman's show because Jake Asman was going to have Joe Beningo on, and I was getting ready to listen to Joe Beningo rip another predictable Jets loss. And then 3 minutes into the show, they announced that the Jets fired Robert Salah, and man, everything was off and running. So shout out to our friend Jake Asman on having, I believe it was the most watched day in the history of his channel. He just hit 39,000, which, by the way, we just hit 1,000. So thank you to all the people watching our show that helped get us to 1,000. We appreciate it. And but congratulations to Jake on getting to 39,000 and having the best day in the history of his channel too. So there, even though I feel bad for Robert Salah as a person, but as a Jets fan, I like it. I like it a lot. I like that Woody Johnson had balls. Dan, this is the first time the Jets have fired a head coach in season the entire time Woody Johnson has owned the team for the last 25 years. And go back even further than that, they did it in back-to-back years in 75 and 76, and it hasn't happened since then. So this is a rare thing for the New York Jets.
Yeah, and surprisingly it happened, and I I gotta say it also feels like the last couple of weeks also about the Reddick situation. It's been on a Reddick watch, and so far he hasn't shown up.
Yeah, and even the Jets owner Woody Johnson in the press conference that he held was actually a conference call with the press where they were asking him questions about the firing, and somebody brought up Hassan Reddick, and he made a public plea for Hassan Reddick to, and I quote, make the drive down the 95 and come to their facility in Florham Park, because I believe he works in he lives in southern New Jersey, so that's what he was talking about, to come up and join them in Florham Park. But I don't know if that's going to work. I'd love to see it, but this Hassan Reddick thing is very weird at this point. So he's only hurting himself. I mean,
Probably
as much as he's hurting the Jets, he's hurting himself more.
probably the jet that never was.
That's a good name for it. You're right. You're 100% right about that. The jet that never was. I
Like,
like that.
and I feel like if he doesn't play a single game for the Jets, I feel like Woody Johnson needs to personally pay back everyone who bought an Hassan Reddick jersey. He needs
That's a good point.
to first everyone who bought an Hassan Reddick jersey if he never plays a single game with the Jets. Just like,
And for every jersey he has to pay back for, he owes Joe Douglas one swift kick in the ass.
yep, yep, exactly. He owes him one good kick in the ass. Exactly.
Also, the Jets ended up firing Salah, like we said, and they replaced him with Jeff Ulbrich. Dan, what do you think of the Jets going to their defensive coordinator to be their interim head coach? A lot of people were a little confused because they kind of looked at the Jets' problem right now as an offensive problem. But I don't mind going to Jeff Ulbrich. I think a lot of people outside of the Jets organization aren't really that familiar with him. But Jeff Ulbrich's the guy that's been around. He's a former NFL player. He was the head coach of the Senior Bowl just this past year when the Jets had the rights to send their coaches there. So he's got this experience before. I really like the idea of Jeff Ulbrich going out there and being the head coach.
Yeah, so I think it may it's probably a good decision. Probably an interim coach. Where they go from there, that's up in the air. But for the time being, it was a good decision, and we will see how that goes in this Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. So
Monday night, or are they doing the Monday night game? I forget.
no, that is true, and we'll get to that right now. As a matter of fact, as the Jets now, Ulbrich being tested in his first week now, it's going to be on Monday Night Football. The Jets 8:15 Monday night will be kicking off for first place in the AFC East. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, through everything the New York Jets have been through this season already, they are actually playing for first place against the Bills after the Bills suffered a tough loss against the Houston Texans this past Sunday. So, and by the way, Josh Allen was concussed in that game, and it'll be real interesting to see not only if he plays, but if he does play, if he plays well, because he really struggled in that last game, going 9 for 30. And they kind of revived him with smelling salts, which me and you talked about on our Sunday show on Patreon, which probably wasn't the best idea, but apparently he's done this thing in the past, and let's hope that that wasn't a short-sighted decision. But regardless, no matter what happens, it's going to be Jets Bills on Monday night for first place. And Dan, as up and down as this season has been for Jet fans so far, what more could you ask for? If you win on Monday, you're in first place.
Yeah, that's probably good, great news for you. I mean, hopefully you will be double celebrating on a Monday, because it's the same day as a game 2 of the NLCS. So you're gonna
Very
have
true. Very true.
So you might be winded after that. You're going to be extra winded. I mean, I talk about I'm going to be winded after that game. You're going to be extra winded. Like you're going to need, I don't know, tea, whatever. You're going to really
Oxygen. I'm gonna need one of those oxygen tanks.
Yeah, exactly. Like you might be looking like Sanford from Sanford and Son. You know that Sanford having a yeah. Look like with the fact that you got a Mets game and a Jets game at the same time, you're probably gonna look like that.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Dan. And it's gonna be a definitely potentially stomach turning, but also insanely happy night if everything falls into place. So let's hope everything works out for the best there. Jets Bills Monday Night Football, big time action coming at you now. What's that, Dan?
Hold on, I gotta get out the power bank.
Okay, I wasn't sure where you were going with that one.
Yeah. I was just trying to get out the power bank for
Oh, for your phone. Okay. I thought you were gonna say, excuse me while I whip this out.
but yeah, I needed to get the power.
The power. He needed the money.
Actually, it was referencing. Remember that scene in Back to the Future where they're yelling out like,
I know. Of course I know. But it doesn't work over the water.
I don't know why, just a random line I was kind of laughing at. Like, how the heck? I thought it was funny the way he said power.
Well, Dan, you know what was also powerful? Let's go on that transition right there. Your New York Football Giants team this past Sunday, Dan.
That was a heck of a win, even though I was kind of still. That might have been the most quietest I was during the Giants because I DVR'd the game because it was on at the same time as the Met game, and I watched it. I watched the game after, but I was still like in shock that the way we had lost game 2, which of course in the end that didn't matter that outcome of that game, but I was still like, what the, like I was still like upset after we lost game 2 with the NLDS. Like so, I'm kind of just drinking tea, kind of quiet, like John and stuff. Me from the Met game that day. So, but I was watching the game on a DVR, and I got to during the sporting event because it was a DVR. I'm fast forwarding the commercials, so it probably took a shorter time to watch the game than it did if I watched the game live. But I'm watching the game. I'm watching the game, and I was just it was like the most quietest, non-lively Giants win celebration because of the everything going on, because everything going on that day. Because you had my favorite baseball team to the playoffs, so it's kind of like that. It's kind of like weird, almost like like today, like today with the Rangers game, like the Rangers won 6-0.
Yep, exactly. So it's kind of like ho hum, no big deal. But let's see what the Mets are doing,
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like that. But unlike Sunday, we had a nice double win today.
Very true, Dan. And it was just a fantastic victory for the Giants too. So many guys to name because you have to remember too, no Malik Neighbors. So the Giants' number 6 overall pick in the draft this year, who's been one of the top receivers in football from basically every perspective over the first few weeks of the season, was inactive due to the injury. Unfortunately for him, he had a concussion. He's still not practicing too. So the Giants are still suffering the effects of not having Neighbors. But Wan'Dale Robinson stepped up big and had a nice game. Yeah. And the defense just continues to get the job done with Dexter Lawrence, the nose tackle, leading the way.
Yeah, I had to give credit to Sexy getting the job done. And
yeah,
I also have to say they give credit to Wan'Dale Robinson for once not fumbling the ball for once.
That's true. He's getting better. And you remember another Giant that had trouble with fumbles early in his career in Tiki Barber? Maybe this kid is finally starting to hold on to the ball and not get a case of the fumbles.
Yeah, exactly. Like this guy is going from having a case of fumbles to potentially maybe if he's up long enough have his name there in the Giants Ring of Honor.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, especially if the Giants do, what we're hoping the Mets do, and if the Giants could pull that trick off in the NFL, I mean, there's no doubt about it. There's a lot of you know, Giants we've seen that have hoisted that trophy and got their name up there. Michael Strahan, just from the past couple of years, we're talking about Strahan and Eli Manning. And hey, if you go up there and perform in the big spots, he could get his name up there too. Maybe even Daniel Jones if he's there for that big moment. But hey, if you can count on Wan'Dale Robinson to be the opposite big guy from Malik Neighbors, that's going to be a big weapon the Giants have.
Yeah, that's going to be a big weapon. And I mean, talk about crazy. Talk about how well the 2024 will be. A year that'll have favorite baseball team in the playoffs. My favorite hockey team made the playoffs. My favorite basketball team made the playoffs. My favorite football team, all in the same year.
It's true. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? I'm hoping that my team can do that too. That'd be real nice. As you did actually that happened for you in 2022. Every team made the playoffs, but unfortunately, it wasn't the case last year.
God, did the Knicks make the playoffs in 2022?
Yep.
Yeah, they did. That happen. It didn't go as well. Didn't go as well as I thought. All horrible disappointments, and to the point that I remember I kept saying, "Can you freaking guys?" I remember the Rangers. I says, "Can you freaking guys stop losing the teams from Florida in the playoffs already? I'm sick of it."
Well, that 2022 run was a hell of a run for the Rangers, but either way, Dan, now your team is not going to be taking a team on from Florida this coming up week, which is probably a good thing considering what's going on down there right now. But the Giants are going to be hosting at MetLife the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday Night Football. So that's right, the Jets are going to be on Monday Night Football. Giants are going to be on Sunday Night Football prime time, which means that they're going to screw up our post-game shows on Patreon. But we'll figure that out anyway. But it's a big time game for the Giants, Dan, because it's not going to be easy. Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals are coming in with a case of red ass, and which means that they're pretty pissed off right now because they're 1-4. Their season's on the brink, and they just lost a heartbreaker in overtime to Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, 41-38. So, what do you think about this upcoming matchup on Sunday Night Football?
Well, I feel the Giants need to come into this game ready and not take their opponent lightly. They take them while they're down.
Yeah, well, you definitely can't take this team lightly. We remember just a couple of years ago, this team was in the Super Bowl. They've been in the AFC Championship game. They would have had even more success over the last couple of years if they didn't run into the buzzsaw that is the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. But they're struggling this year out of the gate, and this is a team, these situations, you don't want to be facing a team like this right now. This team has nothing to lose. They're looking just to, pull themselves out of this hole. And, it's going to be a big test for the Giants. And Dan, that if the Giants come out on top on Sunday Night Football, right now, I think a lot of Giant fans are amused by this team. They've had a couple of good games over the last couple of weeks. They're showing a little bit more life, a little bit more offensive competence. And I think Giant fans are a little amused by it right now. But you want to get the belief up in this fan base. You want to get these fans thinking that, okay, this could be a playoff year for us. Beat the Bengals on Sunday night at home. Let's do it, right?
Yeah, exactly. You guys better do that, and hopefully they win. I don't know about if they announced the start time yet, but hopefully they game one of the NLCS is maybe like late afternoon or something. This way, it sets up perfectly that
it's probably. I mean, Dan, most likely it's going to be probably 8 o'clock
Yeah,
or 7, but probably 8.
yeah. So it's probably going to be a situation where I'm going to set for the Giants game and watch it after work the next.
Yeah, that's probably the way to go. I mean, I would, look, I'd much prefer that the Mets were in the afternoon, but it's probably gonna, it's the championship series now, different story. So especially if they play the Dodgers, it'll be at night, no doubt about it. But so big game for your Giants coming up on Sunday night. Couple of primetime games this weekend for our teams, lead into Columbus Day on Monday. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. And the last thing we get into today, Dan, as we've mentioned a couple of times already, our New York Rangers open up the season in Pittsburgh against the Pittsburgh Penguins, blowing them out 6-0. Now, look, I know, a lot of people are saying, holy crap, I can't believe hockey season's back already. It feels like it just ended. But that's right. Hockey's back and ready to go. They had an off season for about 2.5 weeks. They're back here right now. And it's going to be, a fun season. There's a lot of stress in Rangerland right now, Dan, as Igor Shesterkin, it just came out a couple of days ago that he rejected an 8-year, $88 million contract from the New York Rangers that would have made him the highest paid goalie in the history of the league at $11 million a year, breaking Carey Price's record of 10.5. And he rejected it, man. So in a very un-Lundqvist-like move, this guy, he's 29 years old, too, and the Rangers are giving him an 8-year deal. It's very upsetting that he turned that contract down. So, what do you think about that?
I hope they work out a deal or something with that. I don't know what the heck. I don't know what they got to do, but hopefully they work out a deal with that because I don't want to see Igor go like that. I'd be freaking upset. Like, what the heck happened? Is Scott Boras now doing is he representing hockey players now?
Maybe he's got Hassan Reddick's agent.
I don't know. Hopefully he doesn't have that. I don't know if that guy does hockey also, but he better not have Scott Boras or Hassan Reddick's agent.
Yeah, exactly. But on the ice though tonight, aside from us Ranger fans having that worry in the back of our heads now that the Rangers actually, and you got to give credit to Chris Drury, if they actually offered him an 8-year, $88 million contract, hats off to him, because that should have been enough to seal the deal. And it's kind of ridiculous. And as much as I don't want to be angry at Shesterkin, I'm kind of angry at him. How do you turn that down? What did you expect? You've never won a cup. You've won one Vezina, which was a fantastic season. That was 3 years ago. This guy's never won a cup. You've never even appeared in a conference final, in a Stanley Cup final. So I don't understand how he turns that down.
I don't understand that either. What the fuck? Freaking sign the contract. You're freaking stupid. You're worse than Juan Soto's been doing, turning down constantly big contracts like crazy.
Yeah, you're right. And on the ice, it was great though tonight as Sam Carrick, really interesting, the fourth line center that the Rangers signed from the Edmonton Oilers, who went all the way to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. Sam Carrick, the Rangers liked what they saw in his postseason run, I guess. They picked him up, and he scores the first goal tonight of the season, followed by Lafreniere and Kreider in the first period. Then Philip Hedl scored his first goal in 2 years, because remember, he played the first 10 games last year and didn't score a goal in any of those. He had 6 assists, and in the playoffs last year, he didn't score a goal either. So this is his first goal, his first regular season goal in 2 years. Congratulations to Philip Hedl. And, then Kreider puts in another one, a shorthanded goal, and then Trocheck seals the deal for 6-0. So, production from all over the ice, a shutout against a pretty good Penguins team. Really can't start the season any better way, right, Dan?
Yeah, exactly. And I also got to say, shame on the NHL or whoever made the decision. This first game of the season should have been an MSG net. They should have let Sam Rosen open it, be a part of the season opener.
Yeah, I'm with you. But you know what, though? At least MSG is going to have the home opener.
Yeah, at least that. And hopefully they'll let MSG have his last regular season game.
Yeah, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. And it'll be cool that we at least get Sam in the first round of the playoffs too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
To get tickets to the game that could potentially be his last home game in the regular season. Tempted to try to get tickets to that game.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. We'll have to look into that. Maybe we'll go as a show. We'll take a look at that. We'll take a field trip to Madison Square Garden for the great Sam Rosen, who, if you're not sure what we're talking about, this is Sam Rosen's last season retiring for the New York Rangers. So shout out to the great Sam. Shout out to all the boys at MSG, and shout out to the Rangers for a big 6-win tonight on opening night. And yeah, I think that's good. Oh, what were you saying, Dan?
Yeah, Sam's been probably calling Ranger games since before I was born. I think the 70s, maybe. I think
it was. I believe it was the early 80s. So I mean, it was close to it. It's real close.
I was born in 82. I know that. I even remember for a while he was doing the Giants games on the radio for a little bit. I remember.
Yeah, and he's done it on Fox quite a few times too. He's a big Giants fan, so love our boy Sam Rosen. And yeah, that's gonna do it for us today, Dan. We're just about ready to get out of here. So thanks everybody for tuning in and hanging out with us on a very celebratory night for the Best Seat in the House podcast. Before we get out of here, Dan, do you have anything you'd like to plug for yourself?
Sure, my YouTube account is one word, Dan Berlin. You can catch all your Bobo content there. Also, Instagram Bobo718DK. It's the same username on Threads. Twitter, Bobo103NYC. And also, don't forget to subscribe to our Patreon where you get access to Treks Admitted. And you get 2 weeks early access to my YouTube videos.
Exactly. So make sure to check out there. You can check out patreon.com/Best Seat in the House podcast. Only $5, like Dan said. So thank you so much to everybody who's already subscribed and to anybody who's thinking about it. So thank you for hanging out with us once again. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. As always, I'm your host, Rob Kramer, joined by my co-host, Daniel Bobo Curlin. This is the Best Seat in the House podcast, and we'll catch you next week, everybody. Have a great weekend.
That was a good joke.